Transit, I'm going to show you lots of photos about how transit can make livable communities at the end, but I want to go just briefly through this. And the intention for transit is to make it convenient, reliable, competitive with the automobile. For many of us, once we've bought a car, the decision on how we travel becomes very easy. The car is in the driveway. The marginal cost of driving that car this morning is very low, right? We've already paid for it. We've already paid for our insurance. There's gas in the car. We don't think on a daily basis about making the choice between transit and automobile. But if transit is competitive, if transit is on par with automobile travel, then every morning when we wake up, we may think, is today a day that I could use transit? And that saves us money on our automobile operations, okay? So getting competitive with the automobile is what I advocate for in terms of transit, making it attractive as well. So how do we make transit competitive? Well, the first thing we do is we upgrade its right-of-way. How is transit running? On the right is our GRT service, and that operates now exclusively in mixed traffic. So GRT is subject to any delay that occurs on the roadway. All right? On the bottom, we have median operation for an LRT vehicle. I believe that is Los Angeles, that picture. Okay? And that is what is proposed here. Now, this is a little bit different from what our proposal is, because there they have firm curbs in the median, but it is, other than that, it's very similar to what our rapid transit proposal may look like in the region of Waterloo. The difference between the right picture and this bottom center picture is that the trains in the bottom center picture are not influenced by delays on the roadway. That's how we make it competitive with the automobile. It goes from intersection to intersection without any delays. Upgrading the right-of-way was the first part of the regional EA, and in my opinion, it was exactly the right approach. Let's all agree that we're going to give transit priority by giving them right-of-way areas, and then let's decide on what the appropriate technology and exact routing is for that. So my compliments to the region on their work in that regard. Getting the right-of-way right was the most important thing. On the left is Go Transit, which operates on exclusive right-of-way fully, right? Everyone's familiar with Go Transit. The most important thing, again, about transit is getting people to the system. If you've been out to Calgary and ridden their light rail system, right? Downtown it works brilliantly. As you get out to the University of Calgary, what happens? It's in the highway median, in the freeway median. So every student at the University of Calgary who wants to use the light rail system has to walk to the edge of campus, then go on an elevated structure up over the freeway and into the median of the freeway to wait for the transit vehicle there, all right? At -40, it's not the most fun being over top of the freeway waiting for the transit vehicle. There was originally designed to bring that system through the core of campus, but the University of Calgary was not comfortable with that decision originally, and it was moved out into the freeway median. It was also a way to save money because you already own that right-of-way. But it was a terrible design, to be perfectly frank, because the access is now very difficult for many people. Okay, so on the bottom we have, can we go back? On the bottom we have Houston, Texas, which I think is not particularly dissimilar to what we're talking about here, with a central station with access along at the crosswalks to get into the downtown area. On the top we have a bus stop outside of the Toys R Us in Houston, Texas. So good luck again getting from the bus stop to the Toys R Us in that regard. Okay, making streetscapes. This is a project I did in the city of Philadelphia. This is a state highway in Pennsylvania. So speeds on this roadway, on the section you see on the left, were something around, average speeds were something around 90 kilometers with observed speeds of 120 kilometers coming into a university campus. So that wasn't very good. So the section on the left was originally, let's go on, just go ahead once more. There you go. The section on the left originally looked like this. So there was parking on the right, and there was 3 through lanes, 3 very wide through travel lanes. And the way we redesigned that section was to put parking on both sides, the right and the left. It's a one-way street. We narrowed the lanes, and we implemented a bike lane. So we took the same curb widths and we narrowed the travel lanes, reduced the number of travel lanes, and by doing so we slowed down traffic, we made it more bicycle friendly, we made pedestrians safer at all the intersections coming up. And this is what the intersection actually looked like. So you see on the top there was on the 34th Street, so on the left-hand diagram, the section of the roadway coming downward, there was a shared through and right turning movement, and we traded that to just a right turn lane, and we made very narrow through lanes, and we brought the bike lane out off the curb, again highlighting cyclists through there. And what that did was allow the right turners that are opposed by pedestrians to queue up but not impede the through traffic. So we actually increased the capacity of this intersection quite a lot while making it safer for pedestrians, safer for cyclists. That's an important message, that you can do those things. You can make intersection designs that are win-win-win for all modes that are available. And you see just small in the top right picture what that intersection looks like now on a daily basis, and you can see the volume of cars and the volume of pedestrians that are traveling through there. Okay, so here we are now, and it's 2010, and we are talking about livability in our cities. And the question is, what do? We can continue, as many cities have, to emphasize automobile travel at the expense of other modes. Or we can begin to emphasize balanced transportation. We can begin to emphasize transportation solutions that accommodate pedestrians, cyclists, transit vehicles, and we can create different urban environments. And that's what I want to show you now, some examples of what I think are contrasting urban environments and how transportation plays a role in achieving those. So these are two cities. On the top, I believe that is Berlin. On the bottom, it is Munich. These are two urban areas. These are pedestrian-only areas. Fountains, there is a light rail system that comes through the core of this. This is the old city hall in Munich, Germany. And this is what North America looks like in many cases. This is Philadelphia on the left-hand side. I'm not sure where it is on the right. So the question is, what are we looking for our urban environments? Are we looking for urban environments that move many vehicles very quickly, or are we looking for many urban environments that are accommodating to the human scale and to the urban environment? So here's some parking in different parts of the world. It's Freiburg, Germany on the bottom right. It's a parking facility in Amsterdam on the top right. So this is how parking is defined in many parts of the world. And this is how parking is often defined in North America. And these are urban environments, contrasting urban environments. This is a freeway. I don't recall where that picture is, but it could be the QEW, it could be the Gardner, it could be our expressway at 5 p.m. here in the region of Waterloo. And what's interesting is if you continue to build more lanes on the freeway, what you tend to do is just build more parking lots on the freeway, because there is this concept of induced demand, that when you lower the cost of automobile travel, what ends up happening is you end up increasing the demand for automobile travel, and you return immediately right back to the congestion that we had before. Here is, I just want to end on what urban areas can look like when transportation is well integrated into the urban area. So here are some light rail examples. The bottom left is Milano, and the top right is, I believe, in Zurich, Switzerland. And what is really important here is this is a transportation mode that is very well integrated with urban corridors. This is not as if you are having high-speed rail coming through the core of your city, and it's not as if you are having buses coming through this core of your city, or if it's not as if you are having automobiles come through the core of your city. The important thing about many transit modes is they are very integratable with cycling, with walking, with pedestrian facilities, with urban amenities, and that's what I want to show you here. So here are two examples. Here are two more examples. That is again Zurich in the top left, and this is Dresden in the bottom right, in the former East Germany. On the top left is Karlsruhe in Germany, and this is an amazing picture, I think. This is the holiday season in Germany, and this is the main shopping area. Those are 3 light rail transit vehicles coming through the downtown core, and this is what the urban vibrancy can look like when transportation is well integrated into the downtown core. Here are 2 North American examples. On the top left you have San Diego, and the system in San Diego goes from San Diego down to Tijuana, Mexico. And it's actually integrated with commercial development. So on the bottom floor of that is a retail, and on top is commercial. And you get right off the train, right into the elevator, and right into your office place, going through the retail arena if you wish. On the bottom right is Houston. This is their light rail system. Now, if anyone knows about Houston, it has more parking spaces per capita than any place else in the world. It also has no land use controls, no formal zoning, and they've built light rail system through their downtown core, and it's amazingly successful. So successful that they're building 5 new lines in Houston, Texas. And if it works in Houston, Texas, it will work pretty well anywhere, I think, if the policies are in the right place. But the urban design is what I want to draw your attention to here. There's one section of Main Street in Houston where they fill the track area with water, and when the train is not running over, they spray water up over and they light it. And this happens in the evening. And there's shows and people come out of restaurants when this this light rail transit system is going to do its thing. It's really exciting. And this is my final slides. And so I just, again, want to show you the importance of integration. The bottom left is Nice, France, where there is a busway that is well integrated with transit. And what's interesting there is you actually see the cycle lane along the curb, the bus lane then next, and then autos on the same streetscape, one more route. Bottom right is, I believe, Casello in Germany. In the top are two pictures from Amsterdam, where there is trains and cycling going on immediately adjacent to each other. The important thing that I want you to take away from this message is that the integration of modes in urban areas is really important. If we think about buses, high-frequency buses in urban cores, they can be disruptive unless they are done very well. Light rail systems in urban cores work very, very well, particularly with cycling with pedestrian systems. The important thing is that we think about transportation systems holistically. We think about our streets, how do we make the best use of them? Think about our walking, think about our cycling, think about transit, and how do we design for facilities that accommodate all of those things to best improve the quality of our urban spaces. So thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. My name is Franklin Ramsemer. Very, very interesting. First of all, I've been called a lot of things, but I've never been called infrastructure before. So I'm very happy to know that I'm also part of the infrastructure. In terms of your presentation, how do you balance this against the resistance to change that human beings that we have one of the largest middle-class societies in Canada as compared to the rest of the world, and we love our cars, and as a result we will resist change. How do you try to balance that human aspect and try to get people to think more about using the facilities that you talked about?
That's a great question, and as you can imagine, I get that question a lot, so I'm well prepared for this one. I think we love our cars because we've been taught to love our cars. I think from the post-war period onward, our gas in Canada, except for the United States, is the least expensive anywhere in the world. Our auto ownership rates are higher than anywhere else in the world because the automobile industry has been long time a core component of the Canadian economy. So what's good for the automobile has been good for the Canadian economy in many ways. Our land use patterns have been exclusively for automobile travel. We've built suburb after suburb after suburb, and if you want to live, you buy yourself a single-family detached house in the suburbs, and you drive your car conveniently and low cost to work each day. And so when I hear that we love our cars, I think that maybe we don't. I think maybe we love the convenience of our car, and we have been programmed to really enjoy the convenience that our car allows us, but we haven't paid yet the full price associated with our car. The infrastructure that goes out to the suburbs is enormously expensive and is falling behind in its maintenance. The environmental conditions associated with accommodating all of our car travel simply is not sustainable on an energy consumption basis and on an environmental damage basis. So one of the things that I actually do is I look at what we call externalities, the external costs of our current behavior, and how people would respond if we began to ask them to pay for the cost associated with their behavior. So what if instead of driving into work in the morning, your parking wasn't paid by your employer, but it actually came out of your pocket every day, and you actually paid what was the full cost in terms of the opportunity cost associated with storing your car in a downtown core where land values are very high. That's a very different model than what we're doing now. And one more example that's really simple is you pay insurance on a monthly basis. So if I walk every day and my car sits in my driveway, I pay the same amount of insurance that you do, even if you drive back and forth to the GTA every day. So what's changing is we're no longer paying insurance by time anymore in many places. You're actually buying quantities of insurance. So you're buying 10,000 kilometers of insurance in many places. And so when you get up in the morning and you're thinking, well, tomorrow I'm going to have to pay another $400 for my insurance if I drive today, all of a sudden transit looks like a better alternative that way. So all we're trying to do is a couple things, education and trying to get the economic signals right so that we start to at least understand what the interactions are between our travel choices.